everyone. So we're going to start off the session seated. Also, please mute yourselves before you disappear. But before we start seated, also, I would recommend to grab a blanket and a cushion, quite a hefty cushion if you've got one fairly close to you. And any extra layer that you were wearing, maybe, because I don't know where you are, but here it's very cold today. So I'm assuming it's pretty cold where you are too. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so starting ourselves off in a comfortably seated position. Once you have your blanket and your cushion, you can sit cross-legged, you can sit kneeling down. I like to sit with a cushion underneath my bottom as I sit kneeling. And finding a place where your spine is long, so you might need to just move around a little bit to find that space, or exaggerate in either direction. So really slouch in, slouch, crunch in, and extend your spine, and then finding a place in between, maybe rocking from side to side. And bringing in the shoulders as you inhale, and exhale, rolling them down. And just finding a place where your hands and your arms feel comfortable. So the aim is not to look particularly yogic or relaxed, but to feel nice and comfortable and relaxed. So closing your eyes if you feel comfortable, and extending your spine long so that you're growing into the space just above your head. And then just taking some nice deep inhales and exhales. So really deliberately having bigger, deeper breaths than you have done all day. So nice deep breath in and out. And again, in and out. And just continuing your own breath in your own time, finding the way that you feel you need to bring breath into your lungs. Maybe you feel the need to energize a little bit. Maybe you feel the need to calm down. Whatever it is that you need. And then just returning your breath to normal. So letting go of the breathing and just allowing yourself to sink into your sitting bones and your legs on the floor and your hands on your legs, and just allowing the shoulders to relax down. So you're really making sure your shoulders are pulled away from your ears. And relaxing your mouth, your tongue and your jaw so that your mouth is slightly open. And just really allowing yourself to kind of melt into the floor, although at the same time sitting strong in your comfortably seated position. And now is a good time in the practice to set an intention if you would like to for the practice. It could be a very personal intention, or it could be as simple as just taking an hour out of your day to relax, to unwind, get grounded. Whatever your intention might be. Just taking a moment to have a little internal dialogue before we start. Brilliant. And then when you're ready, very slowly coming back to the breath, and then slowly starting to open your eyes. So we're going to stay seated, we're going to start off seated, and we're just going to start to move with the breath in our arms. So as you inhale, bring your arms up. And as you exhale, bring them down. If you've got enough space around you, inhale, bring them up. And exhale, bring them out. And again, inhale, bring them up. Exhale, bring them down. And inhale, bring them up, keeping them there. And then pulling up and out of your hips and leaning a little bit to your right. So it's just the movement of the upper torso can feel very uncomfortable and unpleasant. So try and keep breathing. And then inhale, coming back to the center, reaching up, and then exhale, reaching a little bit over to your left. You can feel a bit uncomfortable to breathe here, so making as much space as you can. And then inhale, coming up. And again, other side, over to the right. And then inhale and exhale. And then inhale to the middle. Exhale, arms down. And just have a little roll of the shoulders because it can feel really stiff as the first thing to do. And we're going to do the same thing but out to the side. So inhale, arms shoulder height, and then exhale, turning to your right. So I'm trying to keep the rest of my body where I am. I'm just trying to move the upper part of my torso. And looking over to the right, maybe as far right as you can go. And then inhale, coming back to the middle. And exhale, turning to the left, looking over to your left as far as you can. Inhale. And exhale with your own breath, moving around. And inhale. And exhale. And inhale, nice. And drop the arms. Have a little, can be really tough on your arms, this one, especially if it's not something normal for you. Okay, and then one more time, inhale the arms up, and exhale, nice big circle, tracing the arms down. So you're almost going a bit back and beyond with your arms. So inhale, arms up, and exhale, bring your arms back. So you're doing a little back bend as you go. And then inhale, and exhale. And one more time, inhale. And exhale the arms back, really nice. You can feel sometimes the crunching in your shoulders. Okay, and then the other way. So inhale the arms up and over. So imagine that you're like a pro butterfly swimmer of some sort. Inhale, bring the arms up and over. And you can do a little crunch forward as you go up forward. Inhale, and then exhale, pulling the shoulders back. And then one more time, inhale. And then as you exhale, bring the hands forward, interlacing the fingers, pushing your hands out, and have a little crunch and push your shoulder blades away from the rest of your body. Nice deep breath. And then inhale, drop the arms. Okay. So the top of your body should be feeling nice and warm. So hopefully we're going to try and move that warmth down. So taking away any cushions that you were sitting on and coming onto all fours. So coming onto your hands and knees, bring the hands underneath the shoulders and knees underneath the hips. And we're just going to very gently move the spine. So it's an invitation for you to do whatever feels right. You can do a normal cat-cow if you want to, or you can just move with the rhythm of your breath and see what feels good. Maybe it feels really good to spend a little bit of time just all in one direction. Or maybe it feels really good to keep moving. Or maybe you want to chase circles with your back. Or maybe you just want to do classic cat-cow. And just taking a moment to explore and finding where you're feeling a little bit tight and where you need to bring the movement to. So maybe it's the top of your spine, maybe it's the bottom of your spine, maybe it's the middle, maybe it's all of it. And then bring the knees out a little bit further out than your than the hip width distance of your hips, and then bring the heels, the hips towards the heels, the hands come out, and we're going into child's pose. So bring the forehead down to the floor and relaxing the neck, the head, and the back muscles, and just allowing yourself to go into your first very passive stretch. Nice deep breaths. Keeping your awareness into what's tight and what's not so tight. And just allowing the body to relax down. And then inhale, coming up onto your hands and knees. Bring the knees in, back to hip width distance. And then pushing the toes, tucking the toes under and pushing your hips up towards the ceiling into your first downward dog. So maybe bringing the feet out wide and the hands out wide for a nice wide base downward dog, and patting the heels towards the ground. So it can feel quite intense as it's the first one and we haven't done loads of warming up. So just try your best to stretch into it in all directions. So stretching into the tips of your fingers, stretching into the tips of your toes and into the heels. Nice deep breaths, moving with the breath, however you're moving. And then inhale, lifting towards the hands and taking baby steps with your feet towards your hands. Bending the knees, coming onto your feet. Inhale, lengthening the spine. Exhale, folding down, keeping the knees bent. And then inhale, keeping the knees bent, keeping your back as straight as you can, bring the hands up first. And then the rest of the body follows. Inhale and exhale. We're taking it nice and slow today. So bending the knees, inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, folding forward, keeping the knees bent. Inhale, hands come forward, lengthening the spine. Exhale, folding down. Inhale, hands come forward. Exhale, legs come back. Into plank, and then knees, chest, and chin. And bring the legs down. Bring your forearms forward, and then rolling your shoulders back, looking up, pulling yourself slightly forward, looking up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, bring your hands underneath your shoulders, tuck the toes under, and inhale first, coming onto the knees, and then pushing up into downward dog. And again, you can bring your downward dog out wide. So bring the hands out to the sides and the feet up to the side. Nice bent knees, pushing the hips up, and then starting to straighten the legs. Nice deep breaths. And then inhale, looking towards the hands. And again, baby steps forward with your feet towards your hands, keeping the knees bent. And then bring your weight onto your feet. And bent knees, inhale. First this time we're coming into a squat slightly, looking up towards the hands. And nice deep breath here. And then inhale, pressing up. And exhale, bring the arms down. Nice. Okay, then bring the feet a little bit further than the width of your hips. Bring your hands to your hips. And inhale, opening the chest. Exhale, coming forward, bending the knees, hinging at the hips, coming all the way down as much as you need to bend your knees to place your hands on the floor. And then inhale, lengthening forward, and exhale, folding down. So you're making sure you have a nice firm foundation from your feet to your hips. And then you're letting go of your upper body, letting go of the neck, the head, the arms. Your hands are just there for protection to make sure you don't fall forward. And other than that, you're just allowing your upper body just to relax all the way down. Keep breathing, nice deep breaths whilst you're here. Your legs are still doing quite a lot of work and they may feel a little bit shaky, and that's okay. So nice deep breaths, allowing yourself to just kind of fall a little bit further forward each time. Your hands are there, you're not actually going to fall forward. Bending the knees as much as you need to. And maybe even playing with that, seeing what happens when you bend your knees and you come into more of a kind of squat forward bend. Okay, and then inhale, looking forward. Exhale, placing the hands on your hips. And inhale with bent knees, slowly coming all the way back up. And rolling the shoulders back. Bring the feet back to the center. And we're going to do one more vinyasa as we then go into one more standing posture. So toes together, heels slightly apart, bend the knees. Inhale, bring the arms up. And exhale, folding forward, knees bent. Inhale, looking forward. Exhale, folding down. Inhale, hands come forward. Exhale, legs come back. Inhaling into plank, and exhale, knees, chest, and chin down to the floor. Bring your legs down. Forearms come forward. Inhale, roll the shoulders back. and looking up. And exhale, hands underneath the shoulders, tuck your toes under, and inhale, come onto your knees, and then rolling up into your downward dog. Making sure here that you're really pulling your shoulder blades apart from one another. Nice deep breaths. We're just gonna spend 2 more deep breaths here. And then inhale, looking towards the hands, taking baby steps forward, bending the knees, and inhale, looking forward, exhale, folding down. Bent knees, we're gonna do upward Utkatasana again. So inhale, up halfway, reaching up with your arms, and then pushing up all the way. Exhale, bring your hands down. Really nice, everybody. Okay. And again, bring your hands and feet are interchangeable sometimes in yoga. So take a nice big step down your mat, bringing your feet parallel with one another. So your toes are not pointing outwards. They can be pointing inwards a little bit, but mostly you're going for parallel. Hands on the hips. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale, coming forward, hinging at the hips. And bring the hands down to the floor whenever they come down, bending the knees. Inhale, you can either tilt your body forward and then come down, or if that feels really unstable, you can bring your hands forward first, then tilt your body, and then come down. Whatever feels best for you to have that nice, strong, firm foundation from the feet to the hips, and then to be able to inhale, lengthen forward, and then exhale, fold your body down. Nice deep breaths. And like we've been doing every week, making sure that you find a place where you feel strong and you feel like you're being stretched, but it's not painful. So whenever you find your sweet spot, really allowing yourself to melt into it. Keeping the breath long and deep. And staying here just 2 more deep breaths. And then inhale, lengthening up, first with your arms, and exhale, placing your hands on your hips, and with bent knees, ever so slowly coming up because you've been there a long time. Nice deep breaths, rolling the shoulders down, letting go of the hands, and stepping back to the front of your mat. I promise that the most strenuous part of the session today is nearly over. I see some twisting, so maybe a little bit of twisting and dancing about to shake off that shape. And then coming forward onto the front of your mat, toes touching, heels apart. And again, inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, folding down, nice deep breaths. Inhale, lengthening forward. Exhale, folding. Inhale, hands come forward. Exhale, legs come back. Inhale to plank. Exhale, knees, chest and chin. Bring the leg down, forearms forward. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, hands underneath your shoulders, tuck the toes under. Inhale, coming onto your knees. And this time, bring the knees out wide as wide as the sides of your mat. And then bring the hips to the heels and coming down to your child's pose. And just allowing yourself to relax here for a few breaths. Really allowing your neck and head muscles to relax down completely and relaxing mostly the top of your shoulders and your spine. And then inhale, lengthening the arms. Moving back up, pushing yourself up into kneeling or comfortably seated position and coming forward. Bring the legs out in front of you. I'm going to turn around so that you can see me. You always know that you've had a good child's pose when you've got a bit of a red dot on your forehead and on your nose. That's what I find anyway. So coming into a comfortable wide-legged seated position, you can sit directly on the floor, or if it's a little bit easier for you, you can also sit on the edge of the cushion or a rolled up blanket or something comfy. What sitting on the edge of a cushion really helps you with mostly is to tilt your pelvis forward so that it's a bit less strain on your lower back to go all the way around to the bottom of the floor, if that makes sense. And coming into your comfortable wide-legged seated position, this can mean that your knees are very bent, or it can mean that your legs are flat out on the floor. Everybody's slightly different. Doesn't matter whichever shape you make, as long as you're comfortable. And then placing your hands, again, in a comfortable position. It can be in what feels like a yogic pose to you, or it can feel, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Palms up, palms down. Palms up is a little bit more preferable because it opens the shoulders out. So we can try that, whichever direction you go. And again, like we did at the beginning, finding your center and your sit bones, and then just growing and lifting up out of that and rolling your shoulders back. So you want to try and lengthen your spine as much as possible. And then at the same time, just allow gravity to do the rest for you and to sort of plonk yourself down. So nice deep breaths. Wherever it is that you're feeling tightness, maybe in your back, maybe in your groin, maybe on the inside of your legs. Again, try and find that sweet spot where you feel fairly comfortable and just try to relax into it. Taking a few deep breaths, you can close your eyes if you like. Just focusing on the position where your body is, wherever that is, it doesn't matter. And then from here, we're going to grow upwards and bring the arms with you if you want. So inhale up and exhale, bring the hands just forward. So just in front of you. I'm going to move back a little bit so that you can see better. So just in front of you. This doesn't mean that we're trying to close ourselves down like a book all the way to the floor. We're just using our hands as a guide to come forward with the chin and the chest and slowly folding yourself. So a nice deep breath. Try and keep the shoulders back. So try not to hunch yourself forward as much as possible. All of the work is very much in your hips and in the inner legs that's going on. Everything else is not so important. So nice deep breath. And this can feel incredibly uncomfortable. And you're there and you can be saying, oh God, this yoga thing, I know it's good for me, but I hate it. It's awful. I feel sick. What am I doing? Why am I bending myself into this weird pretzel shape? And the only answer really that I can give you is it's good for you. So nice deep breaths and just trying to find your sweet spot and coming forward and pushing a little bit so that you're stretching the things that really want to be stretched. So nice deep breath. Okay. And then inhale, coming up a little bit. And we're going to just do one more. This time we're going to roll forward. So we're going to do the exact opposite of what we've just done. And you're going to come forward and roll yourself in like a little porcupine or hedgehog so that you're trying to bring the top of your head down towards the floor and see how different that feels. So inhale and exhale, roll yourself all the way down. And inhale, coming up. Nice. Bring the knees in. Getting rid of any cushion that you are sitting on. Coming onto your sit bones. Bring your knees into your chest, just holding onto your legs. We're going to do a little bit what we've been practicing, but only a tiny bit this week. So you're just bringing your feet up off the floor, so you're balancing on your bottom and taking hold of either the shins or the sides of your feet or your toes with 2 fingers and a thumb, whatever feels best for you. And then just starting to bring the legs out a little bit. We're not aiming for perfection or success. It's just a case of balancing. So nice deep breaths, wherever your legs might come all the way out here, or you might be here, it's fine. Engaging the muscles just below your belly button to try and stay upright, and of course your arms and legs. Nice deep breaths. If you roll, make sure that you tuck everything in so that you don't roll back and flop, but you really roll. And bring the shins in. Lovely. Very poised, everybody. Bring the shins in. Bring your hands down to your hips and starting to lift your hips up. And coming forward, you can roll over your shins and come forward, or if that doesn't feel comfortable, you can bring your legs out to the side, come forward, and bring your legs back into plank. And inhale, bend the knees, chest and chin down, and then bring the legs down. Forearms come forward, inhale, reaching up. Exhale, bring the hands underneath your shoulders and then tuck the toes under, coming onto your knees. And then upward into your downward dog. Finding the place where your feet feel comfortable. Bending the knees, pushing the hips up. Nice deep breath. And then inhale, bring the knees down. And you can cross your shins and roll back, or you can just come into seated. Okay, and now the true yin part of the class can begin. So making sure you feel nice and comfortable. You can grab hold of your cushion and your blanket. And placing your cushion, if you want to use a cushion, it's also perfectly fine if you don't use a cushion, to the end of your mat. So rolling back to your head on the cushion. And bring your knees into your chest. And just gently rocking from side to side, just massaging your lower back. Annie's joined at the right time. She's missed all the hard stuff. This has come for the luxurious part. And bringing your arms out to your sides, so about shoulder height, and dropping your legs over to your right and looking over to the left. So mostly you want your legs to be as much on the floor as they can be. Once they're on the floor, trying to make no effort with your legs, and then no effort with your arms as you allow your arms to rest back down to the floor. Looking over to the left, opposite direction to your legs. Nice deep breath, and just allowing yourself to melt into the ground. And then inhale, bring the legs back up towards the center and dropping your knees off to the left and turning your head to look over to the right. Nice deep breaths, and just allow yourself to relax into the floor. And then inhale, bring the legs back towards the center Again, taking hold of your knees into your chest and just gently rocking from side to side. And then bring the feet down to the floor. Now, if you have only one cushion, I would recommend maybe putting it underneath your hips. But if you've got a cushion and another cushion or the luxury blanket, then you can pop that underneath your hips. And just so you have a little bit more support underneath your hips. And then inhale, bring the knees up and then straightening your legs up towards the ceiling. So basically here we're cheating and making it even easier to keep the legs up in the air. And this is going to be our candlestick pose with our shoulder stand. So really easy, very little effort required. Nice deep breaths, just allowing your feet to be up in the air. Knees can be bent, that's absolutely no problem. And just counting 10 of your own deep breaths before you bring your knees back into your chest again. Move the feet or keep them still. The important thing is that your legs are in the air. And once you've done your 10 deep breaths, or if you've lost count, no problem. Bring the knees into the chest. And again, just gently hugging your knees into your chest. You're going to be a little bit more squished if you've got something underneath your hips now. So just be mindful of that. And bring your feet back to the floor, taking away anything that was underneath your hips, moving it to one side. And if you've got a pillow or a blanket, something extra, moving this now underneath your shoulder blades. So we're going for the super relaxed version of our normal fish pose. So it's a very passive back bend. So putting something comfortable underneath your shoulder blades. If you've also got something else comfortable underneath your head, you can keep your knees bent and your feet on the floor. And you can stay here, maybe tipping your knees in towards one another so that you don't really need to have much effort to keep them up. Or if you feel comfortable enough to be in a back bend like this, you can bring your feet up, out on the floor. And just make sure you've got a nice arch in your upper back. And then allowing your feet to be out to the sides and your palms to be out open. This is not our final Shavasana, but do allow yourself to get comfortable. So nice deep breaths. And just allowing gravity to open up your chest, open up the spine, open up the hips as well. And relaxing your neck and head. Relaxing the jaw. Just being mindful if you're clenching your jaw closed to allow your mouth even to be slightly open. And relaxing the breath so that you're breathing deeply but without too much force. And then when you're ready, bending your knees again. We're going to come out of this and we're going to go into our very luxurious long shavasana. So bending the knees, coming out of this position, whichever way you feel most comfortable. So you can take away the cushion that's underneath your back, or you can roll over to one side and come forward. Very, very gently coming back to seated, but we're not going to move too much so that we can transition nicely into our shavasana. So again, with the shavasana, if you've got a blanket or extra socks, extra layers, anything to make sure that you're nice and warm, go and get them. You can place your cushions, top places to feel comfortable, underneath your neck, underneath your knees, a little bit underneath your lower back. You can play around with it slightly, see what's most comfortable for you, or you can just go for the very classic cushion under the head, blanket over the rest of your body combination. And tuck yourself into bed in your shavasana for the next about, let's call it 10 minutes. So I'm making sure that your feet are still out to the sides, the palm of your hands is still up. Remembering that if you have something nice and comfortable, you can pop that just underneath your lower back so that you've got full contact with the floor. Making sure you've got your socks, your layers. And then just getting really, really comfortable. Moving any niggly bits, just make sure you've got full contact with the floor and you feel as comfortable as you could possibly feel here. Okay, excellent. So then when you're ready, closing the eyes and just allowing yourself to completely melt into the floor. And scanning your body from the top of your head to the soles of your feet, just releasing any tension. You're releasing any tension in the top of your head, in your forehead, in your eyes, in your ears, and even in your nose. Releasing any tension in your mouth, your tongue, and your jaw. And just allowing your mouth to be slightly open. Making sure you're not clenching your mouth shut. And allowing yourself to relax your shoulders, the top of your spine, and then down your arms, and your elbows, your wrists, and fingers, and releasing any tension in your chest, down your spine, in your abdomen, releasing any tension in the hips and the thighs, in your buttocks, releasing any tension down the back of your legs, and then your knees, calves, shins, and finally in your ankles and your toes. Just allowing yourself to completely melt into the ground. For the next 10 minutes, there's nothing to do, nowhere to go. allowing yourself complete freedom to melt into the floor. And just for a moment, focusing on those points of contact, every single point of contact between your body and the floor underneath you, and the cushion or the blanket. And just breathing into that. So every time you're inhaling, feeling a little bit lighter, and every time you exhale, you melt into the floor a little bit more. Every time you inhale, you're floating slightly. Every time you exhale, you're melting into the floor. And just continuing this cycle of breathing until in time you can't quite tell the difference between where your body ends and where the floor begins. And then just letting go of any particular way in which you're breathing. And letting go of the practice, letting go of the shapes in which you shaped your body into. And just completely allowing yourself to be free in this moment. So just focus on exactly where you are. And any thoughts that come into your mind, just allowing them to be. And trying not to follow any one particular thought, just allowing them to pass through your mind. As if you were sitting by a river, your thoughts just allowing them to float on by you. And just watching. And if you haven't already done so, just allowing your mind to do whatever it wants. Your mind wants to think, it wants to dream, it wants to be blank. Just completely letting go of any control over the mind as well as the body and the breath. And just allowing yourself to exist in this kind of wild yet relaxed space for a moment or two. And very slowly bring your awareness back to your body. Firstly, just to the outline of the body on the floor. Just tracing all the way around the edges of your body on the floor. And then feeling the weight of your body on the floor and the floor pushing back on your body. And very slowly bringing a little bit of movement back to your toes and to your fingers. All the while keeping your eyes closed if that's comfortable for you. And bringing a little bit more movement back towards the wrists and the fingers, and the ankles. Wrists and ankles, fingers and toes. And keeping the eyes closed, bring the hands up over your head and the feet together and having a big morning stretch. Taking some deep inhales, deep exhales, filling your body with breath. All the while keeping your eyes closed. And then slowly bring the knees into the chest. And just gently hugging the knees into the chest and gently rolling from side to side. Again, keeping your eyes closed. And then when you're ready, rolling over to your right side and using your arm or your hand as a pillow, just allow yourself to melt into the floor again. Just for another moment here, nowhere to go, nothing to do, no rush. Keeping your eyes closed and just allowing yourself again to melt into the floor. And very slowly pushing yourself back up to a comfortably seated position and beginning to grow into the space above your head before you open your eyes. Relaxing the shoulders, the arms, the hands down. And taking a moment, like we did at the beginning of the session, to check back on your intention if you set one, or just to give yourself thanks for having taken an hour out of your day to take care of yourself. So just taking a moment to recenter before the eyes are open again and we're back into the world again. And then when you're ready, very slowly starting to open the eyes, coming back into the room, back to where you are and who you are. Thank you very much, everybody. And if you feel too zen, too relaxed to say anything, absolutely no offense taken if you just disappear off my screen. No need to say anything if you don't want to.